It's earnings season. You just watched the HDFC Bank results on the ticker. Now, Bajaj Finance was the other one that came out with numbers a little while earlier. Let's get in the management of the company on the phone line. The numbers have been good, largely in line with estimates, but strong NII growth and strong PAT growth. To Rajiv Jain, CEO of the company, joins us right now on the phone line. Good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. Now, I was just looking at your numbers. There is a strong other income growth that has happened this time around. Can you just first tell us about that before we switch into the other numbers?
So that other income component has essentially the investment income, which is actually sitting there on account of the liquidity management strategy that we have deployed. There is a corresponding cost that is sitting there in the interest cost as well. So it's not a one-time income in that sense. There is a corresponding 25 crore line, which is a one-timer income, and there is a one-time expense which is sitting in interest expenses. So I won't read anything else into it.
Yeah. No, the reason why I was asking that was that there is a 96% quarter-on-quarter other income growth. If you adjust for that, what has been the PAT growth for you this quarter?
No, so as I'm saying that number is up 96%, but there is a corresponding growth adjusted for the balance sheet growth in interest expense as well.
I appreciate that, Mr. Jain, but I'm guessing that the interest expense... I'm guessing the interest expense would remain a constant for the quarters ahead as well, would it?
Yes, you would see both these numbers move largely in tandem.
Okay, fine. Fair call. So, how have the margins performed on a quarter-on-quarter basis, and are you seeing any pressure there?
So margins were, for second quarter, there has been no change in margin. We foresee, however, that by quarter four we may see some compression in margins on account of increased cost of borrowing. But it will flow through in a slow manner between quarter two, quarter three, and by quarter four you may see a 15 to 20 basis points increase in the overall cost of funds, and as a result you may see a compression in the net interest margins.
The NII growth has been fairly healthy too. What have been the drivers this time around for the 30-odd% growth that you've shown?
Fundamentally, our retail business and our SME businesses continue to do well. Both of them grew in a robust manner, between 25 and 30%, between 30 and 35%. Our commercial business was down 23%. Both these businesses in general are higher margin businesses, and as a result the overall NII growth has been strong.
So, pray tell us, for the next 2 quarters, I know in bits and pieces you have talked about each of the individual parameters. For the year as a whole, how do you expect? Do you think a 30-odd% NII growth and a 30-odd% PAT growth is a reasonable estimate, or would you better that?
So I think we're taking it quarter at a time at this point in time, given the slowing both discretionary and non-discretionary spending by consumers. So I would take it quarter at a time, and we've delivered 30% growth for first 2 quarters. We should try and hold to that number in quarter 3. I think quarter 4 is a little too far out at this point in time.
And no concerns on the asset quality, I would presume?
No, asset quality has remained very healthy and very steady. It is sequentially, it's improved actually. Year on year, it's very steady as well.
All right, Mr. Jain, we leave it at that. Thanks very much for joining us and giving us insights to your earnings. As Bajaj Finance bring up the stock for you in the session first on ET Now, and Bajaj Finserv CEO talking about the lending business, not reassuring actually investors that there's not as much concern on poor assets or that's non-performing assets, that's NPAs going forth. Bajaj Finance on your screens, the stock will come up for you in just a bit, 2.5% higher. Stepping into the last hour of the session.